Hi, welcome to Fighting Talk. I'm Kudo Wales. I'm on a mission to spread the news of Kudo in the UK, but also the benefits of being a martial artist. This time on Fighting Talk, we have one of our instructors, Judo Steve. He is a humble guy with a number of achievements under his belt. He doesn't take himself too serious.
I'm Judo Steve, and we're just going to go through some techniques you can do at home. Let's go. This is me on the decks.
Yes, it's good. It's good. Right, we're good. This is Judo Steve. Hey, Judo Steve, how you doing?
Yo, good man. Kudo Wales.
So, because I get to actually speak to you about this, because it's been a bit random, this whole kind of Kudo Wales, Judo Steve. I called you Judo Steve because when you have to put someone in your phone, right? And then, you know, I know quite a lot of Steves. It's like in Wales, we have lots of Daves, you know. Yeah. So this guy's Judo Steve, right? And then we did that video, right? It's like you're introducing me, like it was like what's that famous comedy duo, you know?
Oh, was it like a Morgan and Mawais, is it?
Yeah, Morgan and Mawais, that's the one.
It's like,
it's a bit slappy.
Yeah, he's Judo Steve. Oh no, I am.
That was such good fun, anyway. Right, so let's get on with it. Anyway, need some of the club. I've got the old new T-shirt, GKA.
Nice.
And you've got our hats on.
With a hat.
Yes. You always, I tell you what, you always wear those hats well, mate. That's you're a good advert for that. So, and brew with a crew. So it's more like beer with the boys, I think. This time, it's a bit later.
I'm going for a G&T.
G&T, darling, G&T.
Cheers, all.
Cheers. So yeah, let's get straight into it. So basically, the dojo started from the point of view of karate, right?
Yeah.
And obviously it's developed over the time, and we've kind of gone. I've gone back to my kind of judo roots and jumped on board with Kudo, and kind of the rest is history. And then you came on board. You know, because you've done bits for the club for years, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how long until I started looking through the archive stuff.
Yeah.
But you know, just quickly, Steve, right? Just give everybody who's watching a little bit of background of, you know, because you're not from Kudo originally, you're not from karate either. So
no, so I've been doing judo since I was like 10. Stopped a couple of times in my teens. Started back then. Yeah, so 30 years on and off doing judo. Yeah, started in, done clubs all around South Wales.
Yeah. And
that trained with a few different places as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just leading up to get my black belt. It took me a while.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But I mean, the good thing about the difference between the black belt and judo, you know, compared to black belt and say karate or taekwondo or kind of theoretical arts, right? Because we can all argue that in our arts we all do everything, you know. But in reality, we know that, you know, if we're spending karate a lot of time practicing kata, we're spending less mat time, you know. And judo is you know, it's always practical, isn't it? It's very little time that you don't spend in it. Yeah. So, you know, the black belt's going to mean more, isn't it? But
yeah, hell of a lot of break falls.
Yeah, breaking joints and all the rest of it. So let's get, before we get into it, I forgot to mention it. What if you're going to have a fight, right? So Judo Steve's got his back kick sorted. He's making his way to the cage, right? And what's going to be the music, Steve?
I'm like a breakbeats music, sort of like a Stanton Warriors sort of tune.
Nice.
Upbeat,
like in your
yeah. I want to be like.
Have you got your decks there? I bet you got your decks in the background, haven't you?
Yeah, they're behind.
So you could say that judo has been your love kind of forever, but before you entered judo, you took a look at a few arts, didn't you, before you decided on judo?
Yeah, so when I was a kid, I used to just bully my brother and sister. My dad was like, if you want to fight, get down the ledge center and go and do something. So he used to send me down there, and I used to have a look. down in the small hall, and I seen like, well, I didn't know it was karate, and there's people all lined up, just doing like dances from what I could see, and then I seen something else, and I was like, nah.
Yeah.
And then I seen judo. Then they were all rolling around, and I seen like these big throws and stuff. It was like, oh, I'll have a bit of that. Like I didn't want to be punched or kicked in the face. Like so. Yeah, I joined that when I was like 10, and I haven't gone back until like seeing Kudo.
Yeah, and that's it. Well, you know, it's for us we're you know great sort of overlap really, because of Kudo being a hybrid system, you know, a mixture of the both, and it's gone so far since then. You know, it's you know become something an animal of itself really. And you know, you help coach our students, whether they be the kids or the adults or whatever, and people have really jumped on board, and I really appreciate, you know, what you're teaching. And I think, like, from my point of view, I can see the success of judo because of the traditional side that you've come from. You know, there's no kind of quick way of doing it. You've got to put the time in and the fundamentals and stuff. So, you know, you've looked at Kudo, and you're a judo practitioner. So what do you think when you're kind of coming to a lesson and thinking, right, this is what these Kudo guys need to focus a bit more on?
Well, when I walked into Kudo and seen what was happening, I was thinking, wow, how fast. And I was thinking, you'd come up to me and said, can you teach him some stuff? And I was looking, thinking, I don't think I can teach him that much. The only thing I could do is coach and just help tidy up, like, because they knew like quite a lot. Obviously, the beginners need teaching, like, from who was there was like, I think they know enough, just need to tidy it up. But my judo is from BJC, which is more of the traditional art form of it, rather than the competition side of it. So it's just putting those little tidying up bits really into the Kudo.
And that's the thing, you know, Kudo gets a lot of criticism for being quite raw, you know.
It's a little scrappy from what I'm used to seeing. We look for the hip on throw, so it's nice and sharp, and obviously then I can see that if you can throw in a Kudo competition and you make it look nice and tidy, I think you can get a better score, or however it works. To be like, wow, that was a throw.
Yeah, that's right. I you know, as much as like with Kudo, you know, you can't, you don't score really from the throw, but what you can do, and anybody that's a competitor will understand this, is that you can get the referees on side, and you can get the crowd on side. You know, if you're giving it all big throws and the crowd's like,
I like that.
The referee's like, oh, shut up and score that, you know, and you put them under a lot of pressure. Because at the World Championships, the Russians were chanting, but it was really intimidating, you know, and they were just supporting their team. But you can see that the home advantage meant nothing when you got the whole world behind each fighter, you know. So from the like you said, back with the judo, if you tidy in things up, you know, and it's kind of, you have to have a better understanding then, don't you? Because I've noticed that you've got to understand the striking element to be able to go, well, actually, the throw by itself is one thing. It's kind of when it starts, when you're being punched and headbutted and all the rest of it, it changes it. And I've got videos of you throwing now and then trying to follow up with punches and stuff. So I don't think
myself.
I don't think you're just pure judo anymore either. So with the guys that are kind of wanting to mix it up from the judo perspective, you know, what do you think? What's the first thing they would have to do, or, you know, is there certain throws that are kind of no-go with striking involved from your point of view?
I would just look for gripping straight away to start, which is what an instinct would be. I think as a realistic, you tend to grip and go from there, like and turn, grip and turn.
Grip and turn, so like more the evasional type.
Yeah, so they're balanced, because if somebody's coming against you, you just want to get them over you, like, rather than you pushing back at it. So so they would be the throws that I'd be teaching to start, is taking hold and just turn and use the momentum to go, like,
because Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and then run for your life. Right. I mean, the one thing that I found watching how you teach, which I thought was brilliant for Kudo, is that when people, I mean, at top level, you see more chess. You know, when someone knows that you can knock their head off, and you kind of give a respect level there that you wouldn't for someone that's not skilled. So I'm not talking about that level, but I'm on about when someone loses their rag, gets upset and just comes throwing their punches in or want to stand in, they really want to drop you. Literally, when it comes to close quarter, you can't, like in BJJ, you see a lot of people pulling guard, and it is very much a BJJ thing. It's been something that they've coined and specialized in. But pulling guard with that level of momentum isn't the best way of going about it. And it seems like a lot of the BJJ guys are starting to forget about the in-between. You know, what's in between the striking and the throwing and the ground. There's a lot of, and Kononenko Shian in Japan was talking a lot about transition work. And judo don't necessarily want to follow to the floor unless you're doing ippon type techniques. Is that right?
So the judo that I've always been taught is stand-up judo. So you do the stand-up bit and you're looking for your ippon. Yeah, there's the other part then. Obviously, if it goes to ground, not that much fighting does go to ground because you should be getting the points. But if it does, you've got to be quick because they'll stop as soon as they start stopping or no action, they'll have you back up again.
All right.
So yeah, you've got to be quick. You've got to have that throw straight to ground, straight into the arm lock. So that's where you have control of the arm, straight into an arm lock or whatever, or straight into a hold.
Yeah. So
otherwise, the referees will have you straight back up.
Do you think that they gifted the Brazilians that if you're going for a throw, you're not really that bothered about what's going to happen on the ground? It just seems like there was a massive opportunity for those, especially with the MMA boom, to go. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, just focus on the ground and they don't.
It's surprising how much judo actually we teach is. It's usually like 50-50 of stand-up and groundwork. Yeah. So you're teaching a lot of groundwork and how to get out of a ball position and how to turn them onto their backs. Then when it comes to a competition, you probably won't see a lot of that, or you won't use a lot of it. Like, obviously, if it does go to ground and that, I've been pinned and I've managed to get out because I've learned all the escapes and stuff. So it is going to come back, but it's very quick on the ground. But if you're not doing anything, it's stopped and you start again.
So, like for some of the ones to practice, right? A lot of the conversations I'm having at the moment are about how much time do you spend doing which element of the art. Yeah. And when you have something as well constructed as judo, for instance, as a system, and it is pretty much about the amount of time you put on the mat, compared to karate that has a very holistic system. It takes a very long time to actually get any understanding of the combative elements, especially for real, because there was years I trained before any of it actually started making sense to how to defend myself. So I was just scrapping and then practicing the martial arts. They eventually had to come together, So a lot of people saying in karate, get rid of kata, right? Get rid of the line walking up and down the hall, marching up and down all the stances and stuff, get rid of that. And they're literally just cutting back to make karate more functional, to actually give its benefits. Yeah. So in judo, you're under our banner now. You're pushing the judo elements of what we're doing, which is making, and I hope without this COVID stuff, I get it out of the way. I hope we'll see the kind of the results of that. But if you wanted to practice, what do you think are the best bits to focus on in judo? What would you spend all your time doing?
Balance is a start.
Yeah.
It's surprising how many times somebody's coming in for a throw and the person's not off balance and you're wondering why they're not going over. Yeah. So that's a start. You kazushi it and that. And moving them. That was one of the points that I found when I came into the Kudo, is that they're coming in tight and they're just trying to pull and drag them over.
Yeah.
they're not off balance. Like, so this is where I learn is the, you know, you pulling that extra bit, like. So yeah, that's one of the key things. I think to even start breaking their balance.
Kazushi, for instance, is you know, the way that I teach it is that you destroy the balance by hitting them. so your you know, your throws don't have to be as well rounded, but you know, that's why I'm saying it's brilliant to have somebody that's not relying on one end of striking, or you know, like the close quarter strikes are very, very, you know, they're fast and scary, and you've never got balance when you're being hit with them, you know. So that's brilliant. If they're practicing their kazushi, you know, they're really you know, understanding where does wrestling come in judo, because you could say that it's grappling, but what's your understanding of wrestling compared to what is seen as traditional judo?
I've never had to go wrestling. I've done some like non-gi stuff. So you're just gripping like sort of the arm pads, and you've got to get the grips in there. That's when you take the legs, and it's all about the balance and the spinning and that. That's as far as I've got, really. Well, I do know there was a Welsh judoka. He was quite high up, and he turned to wrestling, and he took a gold in the Commonwealth last. So it's got to be all right. Like,
it's got to be transferable, yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be transferable. Like,
scrap to scrap, right? If you're up for it.
It's just grabbing and picking up, like, and dumping.
Yeah. so like going on, I suppose moving on to, you come from a judo dojo, right? I remember as a kid that judo clubs were massive. The retention was always very bad. You know, because the numbers would just seem to kind of go right up and then right down, right up and then right down. And in judo now, you're not everywhere, but I'm seeing that depending on the way the coaches are of teaching it, and I'm not trying to rubbish anybody that we know is teaching, but I just say, unless they've got something, a pathway to the Olympics, a direct way there, or they've got maybe a school program going on where they're connected to something, the standalone judo clubs seem to be struggling right now.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Why do you think
as a kid, we had 2 judo clubs in Barry for years.
When I started Leisure Centre.
I was Leisure Centre as well.
I know. Leisure Centre, massive.
And then you had the YMCA then, which had a big club. But we used to compete against each other for years. But when I joined, there must have been about 30 people on the mat. When we left, they basically had to close their doors, because I think there was about 4 or 5 at the time. So that's when all the clubs were struggling. So all the coaches from all around the area, Bridgend and Penarth, Barry, they all clubbed together and started their own club then. Which the numbers same there. They're either big or they're very small.
What do you think that is? Because like, I've seen this happen with karate, and I can see it happening. To be honest, in my impression, I think unless the karate instructors really get up with modern thinking and what kids want, what families want, and I really do think that the arts obviously will not die off, because it tends to go full circle. But I think like the karate community, for instance, because they're just labouring on about the past, and this is how it should be, and this is how it's taught, and this is the katas that you have to do. You know, back in my day, they're always looking behind them.
The club that I was in, it struggled a bit, but I was lucky that I could go to different clubs and move around, and then bring something back to the club. A lot of places you have the coach there certain nights, and they're not learning, and from what I see, they're not learning anything new or fresh to freshen up their class. So the students then are just going to start wandering. They're going to be like, they need something new and fresh. Like, and I was lucky to get that myself. and stay and push myself on. But there's a lot of kids, like the parents are like, oh, they're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Personally, that's what I see.
Yeah.
Happening
Totally.
in clubs.
Well, I mean, I was, again, I wasn't lucky enough to have that, to go to other karate groups, because everybody was like, no, don't do it that way. We do it this way, and then it just divides. So basically for me I had to cross train, not because I necessarily wanted to learn the art either. I had to cross train because it'd bring more inspiration. It keeps me kind of wanting to get involved. Yeah, totally. And it's very sad. I just hope that judo can survive, all these big pushes and stuff. And so what's your take on kind of judo in the Olympics? Because Kudo quite often, because Azuma Takashi wants to get Kudo into the Olympics, whether people believe it'll happen or not. I mean, it is still pretty violent for an Olympic sport, but you never know. But I just
excited.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. And
it's exciting. I think it'd make for great TV.
That's what everybody keeps saying. Like MMA, for instance, there's less people doing it, more people watching.
Yeah. Why not? Kudo is like it's a Japanese art like judo.
Yeah.
It's just much faster.
Yeah.
It's safety because they've got their helmets and gloves on.
Yeah.
So I can't see where the problem is.
Well, let's hope you're right, mate, because I hope that does happen. But what I am seeing is some of the things that what I would consider kind of go-tos, and as much as like the crab claw, like Kane Basami, the scissor takedown and stuff like that. I mean, that's banned in judo, and now it's banned in Kudo. And I made the mistake of teaching it at a French camp.
Oh right.
Yeah.
So in the judo Olympics, they started taking stuff out like through the years, like, and it got to a point that everyone was doing pickups. Everyone's just diving to look to the floor to do a big pickup. Yeah. So they banned that, and there was a lot of uproar about that because people liked seeing the big throws. Yeah. Then it was like, it's the same thing. You just watch it. It might as well have been wrestling because they were just leg grabbing.
Yeah.
But you see there are some good fights out there now because they're doing the ippon judo. They're looking for the big throws, like But they're taking out the big pickups, spinning and dumping, and that used to be great. Yeah.
Right. So some of the faster, quick-ish questions. Quick-ish. First one was about what if you had to describe yourself in 3 words, what would they be?
Oh, now you got me. I haven't got a clue. Babe.
That's the second question. So, okay, three ways that people would describe you, right? Hope they would describe you in the club.
Legend.
Bearded.
Safe.
Drunk.
Drunk.
If I can afford it. Chinese or Indian?
Chinese.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Favorite color?
Grey.
Grey.
I do like it grey.
And you've got like how many hats? Because you're a hat collector, right?
Do you know? Yeah, actually, I pulled out all my hats the other week. Actually, I don't know, 30 odd or something. I don't know. It filled up my double bed anyway. So the missus keeps saying, "You've only got one head."
It's only 7 days in a week. Yeah. So, favorite technique?
Uchimata.
Uchimata. So a bit of sacrifice.
If I could do it.
If I could do it.
But it is nice if it's done properly. Like
if it's done properly, if you manage to nail one. And now you're striking as well. What's your favorite strike?
I'm gonna have to go with that back kick.
I hope we got that on camera because I want to stick that in.
Which is like an uchimata.
It is just like an uchimata, isn't it? It's a good sort of setup there. Yeah. Okay. When you're online, right? What what's the thing that annoys you the most?
Adverts for clothes.
Adverts clothes.
Because I end up going on them then and looking at what I want.
I was going to say the cookies are usually telling them what to put on your screen. So
Yeah.
at least it's
Oh, can I get this T-shirt? And I was like, no. Oh, okay.
What do you think the biggest benefit for you is coming to the club?
Freshens my mind straight away. Just opening up of like the martial arts all go into each other.
Oh, right, okay.
I think me and you looked at a couple of things where the throws of judo were like karate sort of katas, and then it was like, oh, great! Like it gets me a bit excited then about the judo because I'm just like, oh yeah, what can we do? Like, and there's new people as well to teach and get to know because it's like a family, like there, and it's great.
Now this is the point, right? That you have to nominate someone, so someone in the club, but I want you to also give me a challenge, right? I want you to nominate someone in the judo world and martial art world, wherever, that you want to see me interview, and then I'm going to stalk them. I'm going to hound them, and we're going to count the days from today until I get them on there. Even if I have to find out where they live. I won't go too illegal, obviously, but, you know, I'll do my best too. So who's going to be there in the dojo first? Who's the brew with the crew one?
I want to hear from the man who doesn't say a lot.
Oh, we know who's coming.
AJ.
AJ. And that's because he doesn't say a lot.
Yeah, he doesn't say a lot. Obviously, his actions does all the words. But let's hear what AJ's got to say.
Yeah, AJ the Arrow.
Yeah.
AKA Arrow. Right, and who's the person that I got to go and try and hunt down? So I got to stalk. Who's it going to be?
I tell you what, try and get Neil Adams.
Neil Adams?
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm on it, my friend. I'm on it.
Big judo guy. He's a big coach from Britain and around the world.
Yeah.
I know him, whether he knows me back.
Well, without the beard, was it pre-beard or judo?
Yeah, no, he'll know me.
It's Judo Steve. It's Judo Steve.
He taught in. He's a Welsh coach as well. Welsh judo coach. Try and get Neil Adams.
Right, Neil, I'm coming for you. Just letting you know. Fighting talk, my friend. Fighting talk. Do you know who I am? Kudo Mal, and this is Judo Steve. What a joking. Well, I'll do my best. Hopefully that's going to be all good. I'm going to end it off now because I'm going to be speaking to Chris Hansen. I'll try that again. Because I'm going to be speaking to Chris Hansen of Karate Unity. And I'll tell you what, if you've got a question for Chris as well, I'll ask him that.
Has he ever done any judo?
Has he ever done any judo? Good question. I'll ask him. Right, Steve, I'll take it easy, mate. I'll see you soon.
No problem. Thank you. Cheers, mate.